Hello, welcome back to Talk Seagulls, and yes, a very different setting. I'm sorry I couldn't do this in the way I normally would want to because the news has broken out and I had to get on this. Don't sell Evan Ferguson. I think I've opened that pretty well, don't you? I mean, I can't believe this is even a conversation. Now, let's take it back to 2022, 2023, when Evan Ferguson was this upcoming 18-year-old, 17-year-old getting into the Brighton ranks, and all of a sudden everyone was like, yes, we finally got the guy, we finally got the Murray regen. I feel like I remember seeing out there. And all of a sudden, everything's just gone completely down the other way. But why? Now, Evan Ferguson was always praised by Potter, by De Zerbi, as everyone around him, as well as being the quiet guy, the very, very humble, mature teenager, the one that was going to break through and be the one that's, not going to be this big fall from grace, if you like we saw in, many occasions with strikers that won't be named. But when it comes to Ferguson, it was always, this kid is the one. He's a generational talent. He's a fantastic all-round centre forward, one of them players that's going to be remembered as being the good one. We're always going to remember Evan Ferguson as being the good one. And this is why you're probably seeing it in my voice, that sense of frustration. Now, Ferguson, as I said, the good kid, and no one had a bad word to say about him. So where has this, seemingly from the outside looking in anyway, relationship broken down on some point of view? Something's gone wrong somewhere. Now, obviously, we don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. Otherwise, I'd be an absolute genius, or I'd probably be working with Evan myself. But when you look at Ferguson at the beginning of his Brighton career, scoring goals, absolutely for fun as well. I think only Wayne Rooney was a better scoring teenager in Premier League history. He got a hat-trick against Newcastle, which, to be fair, probably was not the worst thing that's ever happened to him, because you can't say a hat-trick's a bad thing by any stretch, but probably the amount of media attention it put onto him was probably not the best thing for his career at the time. Now, obviously, since that, he's had a bit of a, misfortune with injuries, has got to be said. He's not always been completely on it, and that's its own thing. You can really determine what you want from that. I mean, he's only got one goal since he was about 18 years old. He's now 20. So yeah, he's been in and out of the team with a lot of injuries. Now, injuries, as we know, they can be a big thing, especially for strikers, especially for young players. They can really determine and dictate how a player's going to go. For a player like Ferguson anyway, who's been in the team getting a lot of minutes from a very young age, it's, difficult for him to then be 100% the player in 5, 6, 8, 9, 10 years time. Obviously it's going to take its toll. It's going to be a little bit taxed on the legs and the muscles. That does happen. And it's about managing their minutes. But I do think that's one thing we've done, particularly under De Zerbi, even under Potter, who gave him his debut, but particularly De Zerbi, who really, really gave him that breakout year. And that was the thing that, we really praised, was the treatment of Ferguson was very, very good. I mean, the fans were very on side with him. I think everyone sort of got what sort of character he was, and he never really got too carried away. He was always very humble with his approach, as a rising star, if you like. Now, obviously, the media really, really got onto Ferguson as being, this next Harry Kane superstar. And I guess when you're a player of his sort of profile, you can see why people are going to draw comparisons to absolutely elite players. Evan's, of course, one of those players that, because of his nature and because of his goal-scoring ability, I still don't think he's one that can just go somewhere and flop. I think the only thing that holds him back now is, realistically, his injury record. And because of his, prolific nature that he's got, I just can't see the understanding for me in the decision to let him go on a permanent basis. Even a loan deal seems a little bit extreme. But sending him permanently, to me, just does not sit right. It's one of them things that I just still can't quite get over. Brighton have been rightly, praised for the recruitment that we've done in recent years. It's always been near enough spot on, and I've really come on a lot of shows and not had any real complaints to say about the recruitment strategy, about how we make our decisions. But just in recent times, and especially with this Evan Ferguson thing, I'm starting to think, has something changed? What's going wrong somewhere for this to go so far south? It's not like it's just one of those things that's been a bit of a steady thing. It's just completely gone like this for Evan. And I almost feel quite sorry for him. And I really, really do hope, if he does leave, I really, really do hope and wish him all the very, very best. Of course, though, when you tout a player of his ability and you're then seeing massive, massive European English clubs all of a sudden getting their noses up and thinking, hang on a minute, this guy could do really, really well here. Are you not then a little bit concerned at thinking, maybe we're making a mistake here? Leverkusen are obviously the biggest ones that have come out in the last, hour or two, at the time we're recording this anyway. And, these guys are Europa League nearly winners, Bundesliga winners. I think they went the entire year unbeaten. Of course, there are brothers from Germany. This is an elite level European side. This is not just another team that's interested in one of our players. Every single European side, Chelsea, Tottenham, Arsenal, I've seen everybody after Evan Ferguson. Even Bayern Munich were talking about him not so long ago. But that then to not ring any alarm bells for me is thinking, that's a little bit weird. Obviously, we've now got, I think it was Alex Crook and I think Andy Naylor. They put rather conflicting pieces on. I'm not going to, bash them by any stretch. But I think, Andy's maybe indicate a little bit more in the side of he's going to go, whereas Alex has maybe indicated a little bit more of, well, we're just testing the waters. But I think once you've already put that out there one way or another, you know how people are going to react and then you base it on that reaction. For me, though, I feel like the damage has almost been done in terms of the Ferguson saga. As I said to you before, he's a very quiet person. He seems like a very quiet guy. I've been someone that's been quite lucky enough to be in and around players and in and around the squad at times. And I've never seen Ferguson sort of be this extravagant, really big ego sort of person. He's always just been quite down to earth. And, you see it in his interviews. He's a very, very nice kid. And that's why, for me, I just can't understand how there's been so much media noise. And especially on a Brighton perspective anyway, where we've been the team that likes to keep things, rather quiet. We don't want things to get out there too much. And especially with a quiet entourage, it's really, really weird how we've now got them as being probably one of the loudest sagas we've had since the Caicedo era. And the difference in agents is rather staggering. I mean, I don't know Ferguson's agent, but let's be honest, it can't be much worse than putting transfer requests and public requests out like he was doing back then. But back on Evan anyway, let's think. What happens next? For me, I completely think and stand by the idea it's disgrace. It is a disgraceful decision if we choose to sell him. I don't think that we're in any position to let him go anyway, without bringing in someone before the end of the transfer window. It's not like we're exactly blessed up front. I mean, I absolutely love Joao Pedro. I absolutely love Danny Welbeck in their own rights. They're fantastic strikers. They're great players for us. But at the end of the day, the injury records for both of them, and probably self-admittedly, they would say, it's probably not quite on the good side, right? Joao Pedro has missed a lot of football this season. Danny Welbeck's missed a lot of football this season. I mean, it's not just an exclusive new thing. These players, historically have struggled with injuries. If you're then going to get rid of probably one of your highest potential strikers and one of the best profiles in the world, regardless of whether they've been scoring recently because they've been injured too, does make you think, maybe we shouldn't be doing that. Anyway, I'll let the comments decide. This is a bit of a quick video. It's a little bit different, I do appreciate, but it was one of those things I just had to get out there. There will be a much more normal Talk Seagulls episode being filmed by the end of this week, so you'll see that will be in the Caxton Arms again. So I look forward to recording that one, and it'll be a little bit more sort of balanced and proper discussion. If you do like these sort of videos though, please do drop a like and let me know in the comments, because it's a bit different. I'm not quite used to doing this as much as I used to. If you did watch those videos back in the day, if you do like it, by all means, I'll get back on them. Make sure you drop a like on the video, subscribe if you're new, and don't sell Evan Ferguson. The end. Goodbye.